Hey, welcome back to the Intentional Mind podcast. Today we're talking about thriving through uncertainty. And if you are someone who feels like you're navigating a season where there's a lot of uncertainty, like you don't know what is to come, and maybe you feel like in some ways you kind of lack clarity there, and you might even find yourself self-sabotaging. Like you know that you want to make progress on a certain thing, but you find yourself not moving forward on that thing, maybe because you're procrastinating or you just are like getting distracted by other things and engaging in other forms of self-sabotage. It could even be like, you should sit down and work on the thing, but then you're like, I'm going to go to the kitchen and get a snack, or I'm going to go for a walk instead, or I'm going to clean instead. Like even things that we tend to think of could be like good things can also be self-sabotaging things if it takes you away from moving forward in the direction of the person that you want to be. And the other thing I want to bring up is also this myth that we have. Like we think that we need to be so crystal clear about the future, like in the direction that we want to go. And that's how we get there. And I've heard a lot of people talk about that. It's like, get super clear on who you want to be. And I feel like in some ways, I probably have been the person to kind of preach that message because I teach a course called Clarify Your Vision. And it's really about helping you clarify who you want to be. But this is the thing is it's not always about being so crystal clear that you start to become attached to it and you want it to look exactly a certain way. It's more about clarity around how you want to feel, what your values are, the kind of person you want to be, the kind of work you want to be doing, the kind of impact you want to have. Not just always like, it's exactly this job, it looks exactly this way, it's exactly this looking house. Maybe there's details of what you'd want in the house, but maybe your brain is struggling figuring out the clear vision of what that looks like. But there's still an element of clarity that you're gaining, So the reason I bring this up is because I feel like when we're in seasons where we feel like we don't know what's coming next, sometimes we can blame it on the fact of like saying like, well, I'm not clear. I'm just not clear. That's why I'm not taking action. It's all the uncertainty that's stopping me because I'm not clear. And it's kind of like, really? Or we like to say it's because I'm confused. Like I'm still not sure what it is I want to do yet. Still unsure, so I'm not going to take any action because there's that level of uncertainty there. And I think all this is straight up is whether you blame it on clarity, whether you blame it on confusion, it's just fear. It's fear showing up around the fact that, we don't know what's happening next. And we don't know how we're going to be through that. And that really scares us. So we tend to sabotage things and try to stay in the known. So let me give you an example of this I've seen this week with clients. What I've seen, and I can say this because if you spot it, you got it, right? I can say this because I've definitely been that person too. And in areas of my life, I know I'm self-sabotaging too. Okay, so I'm going to shine a light on it right now. So what I've seen is this where, let's say a client has agreed that between now and our next session, they're going to move forward on their resume, or they're going to move forward on their LinkedIn, or their business, their website thing, or let me give some more examples I've seen, their portfolio, like all these different things, right? And the next session comes and they're like, I didn't move forward on that. And I'm like, well, what's going on? Oh, I don't really know for sure if I really want to do that. Or like, I don't know if I'm like qualified, or I don't know. I still feel like I'm not super clear in what I'm doing. And there's that. And it's like, really, it's just fear. It's self-sabotaging happening there. The resistance is building up to keep you where you are because you don't know what's coming next. But this is what I've been learning. The lesson that's been coming up for me is that I need to lean into the discomfort versus avoiding it. And on the path to joy, on the path through to success, our version of success, you better bet that there's going to be discomfort along the way, and you're going to need to lean in and work through it. It's going to feel uncomfortable. You're going to feel fraudy. You're going to think, who am I to do this? Like that's a part of it. But instead of resisting it, lean into it. Lean into the discomfort. So one of the things that Ian, my husband, has been obsessed with this past week, for whatever reason, I don't know, is that he's been wanting to do the whole cold shower thing. And I might have talked about this on the show before because a while ago, like I had thought about that, and then I don't know, I was doing like little tiny bursts of cold showers, and then I was like, no, I just want to feel good in my shower. Well, anyhow, Ian's gotten into this because he's passionately talked to me about this, like all the research and all the things. And he's like, how good this is for you and stuff. And he said, really for me, what it is that I don't want to get comfortable just being comfortable, And he said, that's why, like, when I take my cold shower, like the other day, he was in like freezing cold water for like 3 minutes after he took a lovely warm shower. Afterwards, it was like freezing cold 3 minutes. And he said, the reason why I do that is because I want to get used to being uncomfortable and knowing that I can deal with it. I can manage my mind through that. And I think about how, because if he's practicing that there, he's going to show up in other areas of his life like that, whatever you practice, you get good at. So if he's practicing being uncomfortable, he's going to be pretty good at being uncomfortable. Meaning he can do hard things and he can work himself through that. He can do it out in nature. We know, like, he fully hiked the entire Appalachian Trail. That's not easy. That's uncomfortable. And like in his career, stepping up, really up leveling. Like, I watch him, so freaking proud of him, like proud wife moment over here, like the way he's been able to step up in his career and be around people that are so much more skilled than him. And normally that can bring up a lot of stuff for people. And where he's like, I'm going to lean into this discomfort, right? And I'm going to learn. I'm going to be better, right? Because he's okay with being uncomfortable. He is like, I'm going to embrace it. And I feel like when I think about him, I'm like, I look at my own life and I'm like, you know what, Ange? Like, you've been hiding. Like, you're not willing to be uncomfortable. And that's the thing that separates the people that are successful and are not, are the ones that are willing to feel the discomfort, to feel like, who am I to do this? To feel uncomfortable as you're moving forward and not know what's to come. So I wanted to, speaking of that, read this verse. Well, it's not a verse. I'm not reading it in the Bible. Hold up. Let me go back. Although I should be in the Bible a lot more, I will say. Anyhow. So this book, what am I reading? The book is Thriving Through Uncertainty. And it's by Tama Keeves. I don't know if I'm saying her name right. But it's Thriving Through Uncertainty, Moving Beyond Fear of the Unknown, and Making Change Work for You. It's one of my favorite books. It's like it's got all these underlines in it. It's been like a little crumpled. It's been with me through multiple seasons of life because I feel like I need to keep going back and reading it when I start to feel just that level of like uncertainty where my fear starts showing up and I feel like I want to hide and I want to withdraw and disengage. But I know that wouldn't make me proud. Like, I know if I don't make the progress and the things that are on my heart, that I'll be living with regret. And like, I know I don't want that, but I got to be able to face my fears. So in the book, she talks about successful people. And I love this. So I need to read this to you. It's just a little paragraph. She says, this is the secret superpower that successful people have. They can stand uncertainty. You can also think about this as discomfort, right? They can get past their past and create their ultimate soul-stirring relationship. They can spin a new entrepreneurial venture out of thin air, fail, and spin 3 more. They can run for office, write a memoir, or trek around the globe, even if it seems foolish at their age or level of inexperience. They can stay with things for as long as it takes for their desires to come true. They can hold on where others let go. They can trust instead of trying to control every single outcome. They don't need to have a guarantee in order to succeed. They already have a guarantee. Showing up is the guarantee. So this last sentence, soak this one in. Let me flip the page. All right. It says, because as you show up for your true desires, life shows up for you. You feel alive when you show up. And keep going. You feel flattened and hollow when you don't. You may have your reasons, in quotation marks, but it doesn't matter. Anything that keeps you from showing up is poison. Okay. So in a nutshell, what is really said there is that the people that we think of that are successful, like really, truly, they can stand uncertainty. They can stand not knowing. Right? They can deal with the discomfort of not knowing how things are going to turn out. But somewhere along the way, it's like they're trusting themselves. They're believing in their ability to figure it out. And they're like, okay, fine, I'll take the risk. Like, I'm willing to fail and I'm willing to get back up again if that is the case. I'm willing to be uncomfortable. And they keep going when others quit. So think about it this way. It's like, even if someone's writing a book, and whether you're listening and you have wrote a book, or maybe you have writing a book on your heart, like, that the people that write a book, that finish a book, they didn't let go. Like, they didn't quit. And that's how they finished that book. And there's a reason why so many people struggle with this, is because there's a point where it gets uncomfortable and they want to let go. They want to quit doing it because it's uncomfortable now. And this is where we need to lean into it more and keep going. And if we look at the science, I was listening to something the other day. It was talking about how we get these urges to be distracted. We're working on something and we like feel like, oh, go to the kitchen, get a snack, or open up this tab, or check your phone. Like you feel an urge to do something else because you're doing something and it's starting to get uncomfortable. So then the brain is like, let me fix this. Let me make sure you don't have to feel uncomfortable anymore. Let's do this instead because we know it feels good to do this thing. That's what's happening. They say wait 10 minutes. Feel the urge and sit with it. Wait 10 minutes and then the urge will go away. And this kind of reminds me of how back in the day when I used to run in high school, my coach said this, and it still sticks with me today. She said, just deal with the first 6 minutes. Just give yourself 6 minutes. Allow yourself to be uncomfortable for the first 6 minutes. And I don't know why she picked 6 minutes, but I used to remember that. Like I would go out and try to run, like 2 miles or whatever, a 5K or whatever it was when I ran cross country. Like I would be like, just 6 minutes, like just push yourself for these 6 minutes, like feel the discomfort. Cause like after I got past that bump, it wasn't like the rest of it was easy, but it was like I was in the groove of it. It's like my body was like, yep, here we are, you're running. But I had to get through that resistance piece, And that's the thing. The whole point of this episode is if the resistance is showing up for you, which I know it is, because if you're trying to up level in your life, which you are, if you're listening to the show, it's going to show up for you. And then you have a choice here. Are you going to lean into it, right? And keep moving forward? Or are you going to self-sabotage? You're going to procrastinate? Or you're going to disengage? Like, what if you sat there and you allowed yourself to be uncomfortable? Sometimes this is as uncomfortable as like, I love going to coffee shops, straight up. I was just talking to my client about this. But it can be so uncomfortable for me to sit down, pull my journal out, and actually think about what I want with my life and sit there, even though I love those things. I love it. But it's like this resistance shows up. But once I sit there and I'm like, okay, we're going to do this. We're in it. We're doing it. And after like so many minutes, I get in the flow. But it's about me allowing myself to do it. Just like this morning, it was 18 degrees Fahrenheit out, cold for me. And I got up to go for a run before 6 a.m. You think homegirl want to do that? No, she did not want to do that. So why did I do it then? Because I asked myself, what would make you proud of how you showed up? What would make me proud is if I got up and I did it. And I leaned into this discomfort. Why didn't I want to go there? It's cold. It's dark. I don't want to be uncomfortable. But then I reminded myself of this whole concept is that, it's like I got to be willing to lean into the discomfort for me to do anything I want to do in my life. Like when I think about even going up and speaking in front of people, it can be so intimidating doing that. Like so much mind trash shows up. So people are so afraid of public speaking. And it's like, I feel uncomfortable too, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to lean into it in honor of who I want to be because I want to set my future self up for success. So what I'm asking for you to do with this episode is to think about her. In fact, there's all this research that talks about, I was just reading this the other day, about how like when we make a decision, like in the moment, like we're like, oh, we have these good ideas about future goals and plans and things that we want to do. Like in the moment when we're thinking about our future self, we're like, yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, I'll do that. Or you commit to something, you people pleasers, you can commit to all these things. And you had very good intentions. You're setting your future self up to do all these things or maybe goals, all that stuff, right? But when it comes down to actually doing the thing, what happens is we're no longer thinking of future self anymore. We're in the moment. And when we're in the moment, guess what? Your current mind is like, I want to be comfortable. I don't want to be uncomfortable because now it's this right now, right? So one of the best things that you can do is just straight up be like, I'm doing this for her, for my future self. Bring yourself back into that state that you were in when you created the plans for her in the first place. I'm willing to be uncomfortable in honor of her and who she wants to be. I'm going to lean into this. I'm going to sit here even though it's so uncomfortable, and I'm going to start typing that thing out. Start working on that thing that's going to help set my future self up for success. That's at least going to give her a chance because I care about her. Think about all the things you've done in the past that have set you up for success now. Maybe the house that you have, or the car, or the apartment, or the career, or the relationship, whatever it is. You took action intentionally and you set yourself up for the success you have now. You can do it again. And I bet you when you did all those things, it was uncomfortable too, right? But you lean into this comfort along the way in honor of who you want to be. So this thing that's causing that fear in you, or that self-sabotaging behavior in you, you can work through that too. You can lean into it too and move forward from here. All right. So I know this is a quick episode, but I felt like I really just needed to share this with you. This is what was on my heart. I hope that you have an awesome day and that you enjoy this episode. And I'll be back. I got some bonus episodes coming out for you, especially with the holidays and all the things. And that's it. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.